I think that I have spent the day going down the rabbit hole on what's going on with Diddy and everybody around him, listening to what is it, Jaguar Wright and listening to Suge Knight and I said Jaguar Wright, right? Okay. Suge Knight, the allegations that are coming up more about what may or may not have happened to Aaliyah, and it just I've been spinning down that rabbit hole, just trying to get anything that I can. But today I thought that I would go ahead and cover a lawsuit that was filed by Crystal Mckinny, who is a model. I'll go over this really quickly. This one's only 15 pages, so this won't take long. But Crystal Mckinny, plaintiff, against Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, Bad Boy Entertainment LLC, DBA, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, like Sean John Clothing LLC, Universal Music Entertainment Group, blah 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 blah. Okay, we know who he is. He's a scumbag. Plaintiff Crystal Mckinny, plaintiff, by and through her attorneys Phillips and Associates, hereby alleges and avers of the defendants Sean Combs and all those names again. Alleges upon information and belief as to all other matters as follows. Nature of the action: plaintiff brings suit against defendants pursuant to NYC Gender Motivated Violence Act, NYC, and then the admin code, which I think everybody knows by now. So the jurisdiction, it's just summing up why they have jurisdiction over this. So court jurisdiction over this is because of blah, blah, blah. Complete diversity between the parties and the amount of controversy exceeds $75,000. Plaintiff is a citizen of the state of Georgia. Defendant Combs is a citizen of the state of California. Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Inc. is a domestic business corporation licensed to do business in New York and is headquartered on Broadway in New York. Bad Boy Entertainment LLC is a domestic limited liability company licensed to do business in New York. Again, the address. Sean John Clothing LLC is a domestic liability company licensed to business in New York and is headquartered at the address in New York. Universal Music Group, Inc. is a foreign business corporation licensed to do business in New York, headquartered at an address in Santa Monica, California. Venue is proper in the Southern District of New York because a substantial part of the events giving rise to the claim, including but not limited to defendant Combs' assault of plaintiff, occurred in this district. So then they go over the procedural requirements and then just explaining again the Gender Motivated Violence Act, stating that people had, as far back as they wanted to go, they had a limited window of time to where they could file a suit if it was under those grounds. So then we go down to the parties. P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy or Diddy, is a Grammy awarded musician, I don't know why, rapper and producer. In 1992, P. Diddy founded defendants Bad Boy Records. In 2008, P. Diddy was the first male rapper to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's not funny because to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you have to pay for it. So I'm pretty sure that he paid to get that. I don't know why anybody would give him that. Anyways, okay, in 2022, Forbes estimated that P. Diddy is one of the wealthiest hip hop artists in America and that his net worth is over $1 billion. So I don't know where he thought $50 million being offered as like his bond was going to do anything. That's chump change. Upon information and belief, P. Diddy has a long history of committing physical and violence against women and men as documented in publicly available lawsuits and extensive media coverage. On November 16th, 2023, Cassie Ventura, an artist signed onto Bad Boy Records, filed a suit in the United States District Court of the Southern District of New York, alleging that Combs provided her with copious amounts of happy adult time substances before assaying her. On November 23rd, 2023, Joey Dickerson Neal filed suit in the Supreme Court of New York County, alleging that Combs gave her substances, SA'd her, and filmed a revenge adult-rated tape of his assault. On November 23rd, 2023, I don't know if it's Liza or Lisa, Gardner filed suit in the Supreme Court of New York County, alleging that Combs and Aaron Hall SA'd her when she was a minor. Yeah, that more stuff's going to come out about him and young girls. On December 6th of 2023, a Jane Doe filed suit in the United States District Court of the Southern District of New York, alleging that when she was a minor, she was harmed by multiple people. Combs, Harpier, and a third unnamed assailant. On February 26, 2024, Rodney Jones filed suit in the United States District Court of the Southern District of New York, alleging that Combs SA'd him and provided laced alcoholic beverages to minors. Defendant Bad Boy Records. It stated in 1992, Combs founded Bad Boy Records, a record label which has sold over 500 million records and where he produced records by Mary J. Blige, the Notorious B.I.G. and Usher. On February 6, 2003, Combs signed a distribution deal with Universal Records, now Universal Music Group, for defendants Bad Boy Records. From 2003 to 2005 and 2009 to present, Universal Music Group has and continued to distribute Bad Boy Records catalog. Sean John Clothing, founded in 1998, which has retail sales of over 450 million. As CEO and president of the company, defendant Combs was representing Sean John when he attended the Men's Fashion Week dinner where he met plaintiff. Factual allegations. Plaintiff begins her modeling career. At the age of 17, plaintiff won MTV's inaugural model mission on December 5th, 1998, a televised modeling competition taken to Miss America, and she was awarded a modeling contract with IMG. Shortly thereafter, plaintiff's career took off. Plaintiff modeled for Tommy Hilfiger Jeans Company. Plaintiff was also featured in Macy's catalogs, Elle, Cosmopolitan, Mademoiselle magazines. Plaintiff also made appearances on television and film programs, such as MTV's Total Request Live, or TRL, Fashionably Loud, True Life, and a movie with Joan Rivers. Furthermore, plaintiff had international modeling gigs in Germany and Australia. A fashion designer invites plaintiff to Men's Fashion Week to meet Combs. In 2003, when plaintiff was 22 years old, a fashion designer, invited plaintiff to attend a Men's Fashion Week event held at, I don't want to try to say that word, downtown, located on Broadway in New York. At the time, plaintiff was engaged in modeling gigs in Miami, Florida, and flew to New York for the event. The designer told plaintiff that he would be introducing her to Combs, which could advance her modeling career. I wonder who that designer was and how well they knew Combs. Because it seems like all these men are just passing these young girls. And yes, at this time she was 22, but that's still a young girl trying to move up in her career and stuff. And just seems like they're passing these girls around. The designer began to direct plaintiff's appearance as he sought to ensure Combs found her attractive. Okay. For instance, the designer instructed plaintiff to go to Elizabeth Arden to get a root touch-up to ensure it was platinum blonde. Trees have roots, not people. The designer also scheduled a stylist to put in hair extensions for plaintiff. The designer then handpicked a black leather coat with a fur hood, a translucent chiffon beige V-cut shirt, fur-lined handbag, and jewel-encrusted jeans for plaintiff to wear to the event. Due to the traumatic events to occur later, plaintiff saved the unwashed clothing from that night in her closet where they remain in a plastic wrap. Oh, okay. And like Combs does, he made promises of career advancement. Soon after, plaintiff took a car to downtown where the designer was dining with Combs and other guests. Plaintiff felt little control over the events as she was directed what to do and put on display for the others in attendance. I want to smack these men. For instance, plaintiff sat down at an empty seat next to the designer, but he insisted that she sit down directly across from Combs instead. Like, here, let me serve this young girl on a platter to this. Oh, I will watch my language. Oh. Once seated, Combs made a very public display of coming on to plaintiff in a S-way, suggestive manner, which continued throughout the dinner. For others to hear, Combs bestowed compliments on plaintiff by stating, for example, that she was beautiful and that her eyes were gorgeous. Later, and at a more intimate volume, Combs told plaintiff was going to make it big one day as a model. Combs went on to tell plaintiff that he had power in the industry and was going to help her advance her career. Does that sound familiar? There's something seriously wrong with these guys. Combs provided plaintiff with his phone number as a gesture of good faith in his promises to help her. Throughout their interactions, Combs was flirtatious, bordering on leering, as he leaned across the table towards her. Combs also plied plaintiff with alcohol throughout the dinner as he repeatedly refilled her glass with wine. After the meal ended, Combs told plaintiff that he wanted to get to know her better. Combs asked plaintiff to call him a bit later. Plaintiff felt confused, but hopeful that Combs would fulfill his promises to help her career. Plaintiff meets Combs at his studio where he gives her substances and essays her. Later that night, Combs requested plaintiff come to see him at his studio located on 44th Street, New York. Plaintiff felt reassured that she would be with others at the studio rather alone in a personal residence. When plaintiff arrived, she found that Combs and several other men seated together. She found they were passing around a bottle of Hennessy and joints. After plaintiff sat down, one of Combs' associates asked her, "Do you smoke weed?" To which she responded affirmatively. Combs' associate replied, "You've never had weed like this before." Oh man, these guys are pigs. Plaintiff later came to understand that Combs had laced the joint with a narcotic or other intoxicating substance. Combs passed her the joint, and plaintiff took a hit, which felt very powerful. Although plaintiff insisted that she had enough after that, Combs pressured her to even more alcohol and marijuana by telling her that she was acting too uptight. You know, you don't seem to know your own limit. You're just being uptight about it. Come on, I know better than you do. Anyways, plaintiff felt as if she was floating. Who else said that? Was it Cassie that said that? I think it was. Seeing plaintiff was very intoxicated, Combs demanded plaintiff follow him, and he physically led plaintiff to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Combs forced himself on plaintiff and began kissing her without her consent. Combs then shoved her head down to his crotch before demanding her to suck it. Plaintiff refused, but Combs pushed her head down onto his phallus and forced her to perform OS on him. As she was being assaulted, plaintiff felt panicked and physically sick. Afterwards, Combs led plaintiff back into the studio. Upon standing and walking, plaintiff felt more and more woozy and then lost consciousness. Plaintiff awakened in shock to find herself in a taxi cab heading back to the designer's apartment. As her consciousness returned, plaintiff realized that she had been essayed by Combs. Plaintiff felt humiliated and traumatized and without recourse. Combs' assault has caused plaintiff lifelong harm. Following the assault, plaintiff's modeling opportunities quickly began to dwindle and then evaporated entirely. Upon information and belief, Combs had plaintiff blackballed in the industry and utilized his significant influence to impede plaintiff's career growth. Plaintiff became severely depressed as she began to blame herself for the assault and for sabotaging her own career. The assault led plaintiff into a tailspin of anxiety and depression. In or about 2004, plaintiff attempted unaliving herself and was hospitalized. Everywhere plaintiff looked, she was reminded of Combs' assault, as Combs was an inescapable presence in music, television, and film. I rarely see him unless I'm trying to look something up. In the ensuing year, although that was back in 2004, maybe he was bigger and not. He's just not my cup of tea, I guess. So in the ensuing years, plaintiff has also experienced alcohol and drug addiction as she attempted to cope with the emotional trauma of being assaulted. Plaintiff has also experienced intimacy issues as she struggles to maintain emotional and relationships with men. Plaintiff was married from approximately 2006 to 2010. However, her marriage fell apart as she had a mental breakdown precipitated by memories of the assault. Combs' assault has altered the trajectory of plaintiff's career, denying her a successful and lucrative career in the modeling and film industries. To this day, plaintiff experiences bouts of depression, anxiety, body image issues, feelings of worthlessness, and intimacy issues because of Combs' assault. Plaintiff is a woman of faith, and when she saw news coverage of the lawsuit from Miss Cassie Ventura, Mr. Casanil, and others, she knew she had a moral obligation to speak up. So as I've said in other videos, all it takes is that one person to finally be like, okay, you know what, enough's enough. I mean, even Sean Combs said it in his trying to talk about these lawsuits. Oh, enough's enough. No, I agree, enough is enough. But once somebody does speak out, it gives everybody the courage to speak out, and then you find unity for supporting each other, and it doesn't feel so lonely and scary. I mean, he's a really, in the music industry and everything, he's a very powerful person. I wouldn't want to go against him by myself. But plaintiff prayed to God before bringing this lawsuit, as she feared further violence and or retaliation from defendant Combs. Ultimately decided that she needed to speak her truth. Plaintiff seeks justice for herself and for any of other Combs victims. Cause of action. So as first cause of action, and then from there it's pretty much just going to restate her the main name. Although also when I was going through my rabbit hole today, I came across this. Let's see if I can pull it up right here. Because I was curious as to, I saw the headline and I was like, okay, hold on. So he was accused of impregnating, threatening woman in new assault lawsuit. So there's another one, I think, because okay. So Sean Diddy Combs has been hit with yet another abuse lawsuit, the latest filing against the 54-year-old artist and record exec alleges Combs gave her substances, assaulted, coerced, and threatened an unnamed victim over the course of 2 years, with one of their encounters resulting in a pregnancy and miscarriage. In the new lawsuit filed Friday, September 27th, what's today, the 29th? Okay. So just 2 days ago. With the New York County Supreme Court, a Jane Doe plaintiff who resides in Florida and works as a model claims she was forced to travel and perform for Combs many times in the last few years. The plaintiff alleges that after she and Combs started seeing each other in 2021, she was flown to different states, including California and New York. According to the filing, the victim often felt coerced into going to see Combs by members of his team and Combs' chief of staff, Christina Quorum. I can't wait to see what happens to that lady. I mean, I get that she may sit there and try to say, well, she felt pressured because, you know, it was her job or whatever. But Combs himself called her his right hand, you know. So I'm wondering, she is definitely Maxwell. She had her hand in everything. Was among the agents who would pay for the plaintiff's travel. She says staffers would send drivers to her home to pick her up before she agreed to travel, to the point where she did not believe she had a choice. So, the named victim alleges that throughout the spring of 2022, she was ordered to take substances, including ketamine, and forced to have S with Combs in his homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The plaintiff says the heavy substance use caused her to black out intermittently. So going on down, I mean, it's not too much more, but additionally, the plaintiff claims to have witnessed Combs slap other women and exhibit controlling, violent behavior. She alleges that he would instruct his staff to record S encounters with her without her permission, that he had found a way to track her location and would monitor her phone conversations, and that he would command her to travel to him up until July. Wow, up until July of this year. The plaintiff says Combs continues to contact her in an attempt to intimidate her. She is seeking unspecified punitive damages from Combs and Bad Boy Enterprises, with the amount to be determined in a trial. With this new complaint, the tally of civil lawsuits against Combs in the last year for S misconduct rises to 12. There's like no way that these are all of them either. It's that's why I said I had to go down, like, I didn't have to go down it, but I kind of went down that rabbit hole today. I see, I was listening to, I think, who was it that was showing it? I can't remember. But it is apparently a leaked audio. It was, I guess, Diddy's bodyguard had a leaked audio because he was recording from the other side of a door, and on that video, supposedly, you hear Meek Mills and Diddy doing something. And then you've got the Justin Bieber aspect of it and how young he was. I mean, he was literally just a child. But Usher was only 13. I thought he was 15, but apparently he was only 13 when when Diddy got his hands on him. It's just, the further down the rabbit hole you go, the darker it seems it gets. I was hearing recording, like, interviews where there were people talking about what happened to Aaliyah and how Jay-Z and Diddy had their part in her plane crash. And it is odd that the guy wasn't on hype, right? He wasn't on the plane, but he forced her to get on the plane, even though somebody else was going to send a plane for her. And so that snowball, like, every single time I turn around, there's just more and more. And then you've got now people coming out and saying how Beyonce is further into this than anybody would like to believe, and that she's getting ready to leave Jay-Z if she hasn't already, because she's going to let him take the fall for everything. These people are, and again, I can't say that is the truth because I wasn't there, but the stories that are coming out, and by so many people telling these same stories. I mean, Nicki Minaj has her stories. It's going to be interesting to see who goes down for all this, because apparently there are so many careers that could be ended by this one. I'll just keep checking in and see where it goes from there.